up, guys? Yes. What is up, guys? All right, guys, today we have an absolutely legendary interview of somebody that I have personally have been impacted, have been following, have been looking up to literally since he was on stage in front of me at a CBD convention. This is somebody that has been in the network marketing industry for over 25 years, has written books upon books and courses upon courses, and helped thousands of network marketers, business owners recruit and build businesses. And so, guys, I just want to welcome today to the HMU Hemp Marketing University stage, Todd Falcone.
Dude, you crack me up every time I hear you. You make me smile so big. Todd Falcone, what's up, buddy? It's like your signature. What's up? I love it. I love it. Great to be here, man.
Todd, thank you so much. I just want to say today you caught my eye. Today you were talking about like how to actually like close people and how to like bring on that right type of person and just write down who that is. And it's so crazy because the only place I wrote it down was on your video. And I said, I want somebody like an affiliate for me. I want somebody that like literally like goes on Facebook Live all day, that hangs out and like helps people, that actually cares. And also like wears a tie-dye shirt.
Yeah.
And I was
I'm
like,
always wearing one.
And I was like, dude, Todd is like, he's like my best friend. He just doesn't know it yet.
Love it. Love it.
And so thank you so much for being here, man. I know a lot of people have been anticipating this, even though we just talked about it today. Inside of our group, it's been a crazy buzz. And so thank you so much, because you have spoken in front of thousands and thousands of people. I believe it said 25 countries.
I'm up to 30 now. I was in, I think either it was Budapest, Hungary, which was number 30, or Egypt was 30, but I think it's 30 now. So lots of them. Been speaking full time for 15 years. So crazy times.
Wow, that is amazing. And so you're extremely inspirational. And so I kind of just want to, you have been literally the guru on the mountain for me since like you've inspired me. You look similar to me. Like we have very similar traits. We like to hang out and do the similar things. And so it's kind of like, if this guy could do it, I could do it, you know? And so I just believe in it. And so before we dive into too much of what you fully like, how much you're going to help, I want to reel it back way farther and tell us how you got started in all of this. Like, how did you get started in like recruiting massive affiliates? Like you were first in network marketing. How did you get started just from where you are to where you are, like literally speaking 30 countries around the world about recruiting affiliates and network marketing? How'd you do that?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I don't always get to share the whole backstory, but I was going to school and getting ready to graduate out of the marketing department at Long Beach State back in 1989, 1990. And some dude called me up, looked me up in the white pages, literally, and cold called me. He said, "My name's Jim. I'm calling you from Orange County Marketing Group. We're a marketing company. We're looking for people that can train and manage others in the expansion of our company. We want to talk to you." And I actually thought I was getting recruited into a job. I had never even heard of multi-level marketing, network marketing, direct selling. And I was like, threw my clip-on tie on in my suit and drove from Long Beach to Irvine and went into this big building. And I was like, and then there was a big room with a bunch of chairs. I was like, this is a weird interview. I've never done an interview like this. My only other interviews were like Jack in the Box, McDonald's, and parking cars at Kelly's restaurant. And I sat there and watched a biz op presentation. I didn't even know it was in a business opportunity meeting. And I was hooked, man. I got the concept of network marketing made sense to me. Like the whole idea of earning income on the efforts of lots of other people. It just, it made sense. It was like, what's not to get about this? And so that's how I began my journey. That was literally 30 years ago. I think it was August 29th was my anniversary. And 2 years struggled, 22-year-old kid, all my buddies they didn't have any motivation to do anything except surf and hang out. And I just wanted to have more out of life. I grew up in a very broke family, and then my parents got divorced. My mom married my stepdad, and he was like six-figure earner, not like millionaire, but different than what I grew up in. And I realized a long time ago, I think I realized at the age of 15 that money buys you choices, buys you stuff and things, but more for me personally, it's bought me stuff and things, but don't get me wrong, but it's more like the freedom that it buys you. So I equated network marketing with that leverage with freedom. And so I bought into that whole picture. I struggled for a couple of years, ran out of money, moved home, had to live in the bunk beds in my mom's house, cut up my credit cards because I had no assets, and blew through. I quit my job 90 days into it, thinking I'd be making 10 grand a month, and I wasn't making $10 a month. And then and so I took a job at the radio station, and I was like, oh my God, I don't want to have a job. I don't want to work for somebody else. Even though it was my family's radio station, I was an employee selling advertising. And I'm like, man, I don't want, but I helped him out. I, played my role to help the family out. But within 3 months, I found another network marketing business to have my sanity, if you will. And I was building that company part-time from home. And my second go around was my last go around. I mean, I've been in this space for 30 years. I built 6 different companies as an active distributor in the field to the top of those compensation plans. And then I had spent 11 years with a company that went out of business. And when they did, some dude called me up and said, hey, will you come and speak at one of my events? And I was like, what do you want me to talk about? And he's like, oh, just talk about how you built your business. I was like, oh, okay. So I did. And then I got invited to do somebody's conference call. And then somebody asked me for another deal. And then the next thing you know, it's like now 15 years later, 30 countries, audiences around the world. And I'm literally on the road almost every week of the year, flying someplace to go speak. And then during the week, I got to do cool stuff like this and hop on Facebook Lives and Zooms and stuff. But I've been in the business nonstop for 30 years, long time.
Wow.
Yeah. Crazy, interesting profession that we're in. Awesome and crazy at the same time.
That is amazing. Wow. Okay. So that's really crazy that you kind of touched on something that I believe that there's a lot of people that are going through. And I really want to know about, because maybe people don't elaborate more. How did you make that jump from when you were actually struggling to actually not struggling anymore? Even though you said there was a time frame, but was there something that you actually did, your actions? What did you actually do that I could do differently, or somebody that's watching could do differently? How could you help us out?
Yeah, well, that's a very good question. I suppose there's a number of aha moments and breakthroughs that I had. Actually, it's a very good question, because I get interviewed all the time, and not many people actually ask that question. So I appreciate that. So you come in, I'm green, I know nothing. I'm hungry, I have desire, I want to make it happen. I'm working my ass off, trying to figure it out. Don't really know what I'm doing. So I learned early. I came out of a culture that, and every network marketing culture is different. I was told I needed to go to this seminar 3 months into my first network marketing business, and I maxed out my credit card on my very first product purchase. So I had no money. And if you want to be a leader, you need to go to the seminar. And I was like, I don't have the money. And this first part of 1990, it was $300 to go to this event, let alone the hotel. I actually slept in my car. That was the only one I ever slept in my car. I don't have some rags or riches deal, but I did sleep in my car for 3 days. But I found the $300, made it to that event. And I learned very, very early on, look, if somebody has something, and they even said, if somebody has something that you want, do what they do. And so I started to copy the success or model the success of other people. And I also learned that, the best thing that I can invest in, people spend money all the time on stuff, that dinners and shit and stuff that doesn't even matter. But they won't buy a course that'll teach them how to really do it. Like you had mentioned something about recruiting up. I have an entire course that teaches people how to recruit professionals. And it boggles my mind how people are like, well, I'm struggling to recruit good people. I'm like, well, dude, grab my course. I teach you the ins and outs, ups and downs, exactly how to do it. And then they don't do it. Well, if it was me that was asking the question, and the person said, hey, this is going to teach you how to do this, I'm like, hey, here's my money. Let's go. And so I've always been this person. I still do it to this day, man. I'm investing in courses and coaching and training. I flew to Minneapolis and back this last week. The entire time, I carry these small external hard drives that have just hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of personal development material on them. And I'm going through it. I'm constantly learning, growing, and then I go apply it. Because then the thing I also find, people say that they want to get good in the business, but then they don't do the things that cause them to get good. They're like, I want to be good. I'm like, okay. And this is something I did this. I've been studying the art of learning and retention. And for example, most seminars, they fall way short of helping people really fully understand or comprehend or get to, mastery status. Like my brand, the Fearless Networker, network marketing mastery is you have, you're highly competent, highly skilled, highly confident in that which you're doing. And I started as a total novice, no experience, zero experience to, I definitely consider myself a master at the craft of building network marketing. Even though I'm not actively building in the field today, I'm teaching it. It's based on having success in the field. And I also, and for me, which is I think different for some people, not everybody who's a doer can be a very good teacher, right? In fact, it pisses me off when people say the phrase those that can't do teach. Here's what I've got for that person, because they just don't. Sorry, they don't understand it, And I realize that there are some teachers, people that teach stuff that I've never done, but I think having the full comprehension of something is critical. And so, in answering your question in a pretty long manner, it's like I wanted to master it. So, what breakthroughs, or where did I have my breakthroughs? Well, I was doing, I remember I had one of my biggest breakthroughs at the Bonaventure Hotel in 1991 at a seminar, and I was so serious, so grinding. I've always been serious about the business, but my fun, you're a fun dude. Every time you're always laughing, always smiling. Literally, you make me laugh every time I get an audio from you on Facebook. I mean, it's I laugh out loud, literally. And I was at this deal, and this guy was playing this character, and he was making a point in this teaching, which was a good way of teaching and comprehension and actual understanding. It was taught in the format of a play. Essentially, it was a play that was played out on stage, and it sunk in, and it was dude, you need to lighten up, have fun. I was not really enjoying the journey. I was grinding, trying to do the business. Yeah. And while I was hard at doing that, and I still work hard at doing the business or business in general, you got to have fun, man. You got to giggle your way through life and have a good time. And that's all. It was interesting because then all of a sudden I had people that were joining my business because they're oh, this guy's super fun. Because naturally I'm super fun. I'm a jokester. I spoke in Minneapolis this weekend. I had people almost quite literally peeing their pants. This woman came up to me. She goes, literally, I almost peed my pants while you were talking. You're the funniest speaker I've ever seen. And plus I learned a ton. So that was a big breakthrough. But there's, I think through life, we go through a bunch of them, right? Hopefully we go through a bunch of breakthroughs, but it's the openness. Because, dude, network marketing is not that hard.
Yeah.
What we do, but what we get so caught up in is all of this stuff in here that causes us to be fearful and be worried about what somebody thinks of us and all of that stuff. And then it gets people frozen, and you got to be able to figure out a way to get past that. And that's why I do what I do, because I'm very good at helping people get past their stuckness, their thinking in their mind that they're not good enough, that they're not valuable enough, worthy enough, whatever, and help them get the skills and apply the skills into the business to get the result.
Wow. Man, that's crazy how deep that speaks to me, because even though on the internet I play this outgoing person, it's super easy to get on the little messenger and be what is up? It's super easy. Yeah. However, in person, I'm really shy.
Really? Interesting. That's so you put the not shy cap on. A lot of people there's a lot of comedians do that. They, and I know top speakers that are very introverted naturally. Yeah. That when they have to flip the switch on, which actually a good thing that you brought that up. Shyness, when you say shyness, that doesn't necessarily equate to introvert, but that could mean that you're more of a natural introvert. I can actually do both. I'm very, very social. I love to entertain, love to be around people. But there's also a time where I just, don't want to be around anybody, and I can be by myself, no worries.
Yeah. Here's one of the coolest things. Immediately what I saw is you have a guitar right behind you. And if you really want to get a laugh, I literally just started playing guitar 2-3 weeks ago. And I decided for whatever reason to also start singing for the very first time at the same time. But I was I'm just going to record this, I might as well see where I am at, when I suck, so, and then I'll have documentation. And then I uploaded it to Facebook. And so it's on my Facebook, and it's just me in the closet, just singing,
Yeah. Well, dude, that's actually, I'm so glad you brought that up. So there's my Martin guitar that sits there, right?
Yeah.
It's behind me. It's where it sits, but it actually sits there more than it gets used.
Oh yeah.
And the art of mastery, we can take that guitar and bring it right back into anything, right? If I have my hands, and actually this is last night I was watching this guy, I was showing it to my wife, this dude that's just, I can't, Matt Dawes or Hawes, or he's I'd have to do a Google or a YouTube search. The guy's just is so insane on the guitar. He was playing it's brilliant to watch the guy, just because he uses the acoustics of the guitar to tapping, he can play an entire. I think it's Mike Dawes is his name, if I'm not mistaken. In fact, for the people that, if you want to talk about mastery, this guy has got like it's Mike Dawes, Dawes. And it's funny because I've got a guitar lesson in front of me from last night, but
Yes.
There's a guy that clearly has spent hours on the guitar. And so, you asked me this question, breakthroughs, or how did you go from here to there? Well, if you're in the driver's seat and you're doing, like if I have the guitar, for example, in my hand, if I just have the guitar in my hand and I start playing chords, I'm going to start to develop the calluses. I'll start to, more clearly be able to play the chords or whatever. Then if I'm studying, like, okay, so I go onto YouTube, I got my laptop right here. If I'm studying and I'm like, okay, well, I want to learn, I pulled out last night because I love the song Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You by Led Zeppelin. And I'm like, okay, that'd be a cool song to learn. So I started kind of going through that. Well, I could look at the video, go, this is a nice video, but if I have my guitar in hand and I'm actually practicing it, not just once, but repeatedly practicing it, I know I can learn that, right? And then the thing is, because I've gone through phases in my life where I've played pretty well, and then I've like gone like a year or two, I went 2 years without even picking up the guitar because just so focused on work and other things and stuff. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even remember how to play that Pink Floyd song. Oh shoot, I could rip out "Wish You Were Here," but now I can't play. What's the chord? What's playing "Redemption" song by Bob Marley or something, right? So I think that people have to look in their businesses, like what are you doing to master the craft, right? And I know we got obviously like this whole group that's probably in here, cannabis fans. Many of them are involved in network marketing or running a cannabis business. What can you do? Who can you study? And how can you apply that information and put it into your business? Taking notes is one thing, but then taking the notes and going, okay, how can I take what this Falcone guy taught me and then go put it to use? Like I had a woman, check this out. She comes up to me at the event and, it's before, wait, when was it? Hold on a second. Let me get my brain straight. It was, I was getting picked up by my host. So I'm in Minneapolis. We're getting ready to go out to this awesome steak place in Minneapolis. And he was on a three-way call, right? And he was on a three-way call with this girl. And she's like, yeah, he's on a three-way call right now. She's whispering to me. She goes, yeah, oh, yeah. The guy that she's on a three-way call with is from my friend Medea. Medea bought your recruiting professionals course, and that script, that peak interest question that she used, that's how she got this guy. So it's funny because I'm like, oh, well, good. There's a person that's actually applying the information rather than buying somebody's stuff and then never using it, or buying it and just listening to it. Boy, that sounds really nice. That's great. No, now let's put it to use. And I've always been somebody that just executed, I guess. Like I took it, I'm like, I want to get successful at this, and you're better than me. You know more than I do. You telling me to do it that way, I'm going to do it that way and put it to the test and see how it works for me.
Wow. I think what you just said right there probably might be like my biggest, I don't know, like hang up is like, I see other people successful, and for some reason this like internal like pride in me was like, no, but I read all these books that taught me this way, and I ignore the fact that these guys have done it, and maybe these other guys are out, they haven't done it, and so I kind of apply some outside knowledge, and all of a sudden like I find myself in a situation where I'm like, no, my way works better, but I never actually do it.
Yeah, well, what I tell people? I go, dude, if I was building a business right now and somebody's trying to do it their own way, I said, why don't you do yourself a favor, make your first 10 grand a month my way, and if you want to go screw it up after that, you're welcome to, because right now you don't have a way. And people do that all the time. They reinvent the wheel. It's like, why would you reinvent the wheel when you don't even know how to drive the car? Like, it's like people do it all the time. And here's the other thing, since you said that. So you also brought something inside of that message, and that is, we judge ourselves against other people, right? Yeah. Oh my God, like he's got a better body than I do. They've got a nicer house. He's got more hair than I do. He's better looking. They're more well-spoken. They're this, that, or the other. They made it happen faster. What the hell? I mean, we do that all the time, like comparing ourselves to other people. If the comparison, now look, I mean, and I can say don't do it, but I do it. We all do it. If the comparison motivates you to improve, that's great. But if it's self-defeating and causes you to not do because you're, and like, dude, I had people that were less talented than me, knew less than me, Zoom past me. I had people with years of experience do it. So it doesn't even matter what their experience has been in the past, or like, especially if you're comparing yourself to somebody else in a network marketing company. I had this Nordstrom shoe sales guy that came into my office years ago, and within like 2 months, just blew past me. I'm like, who's this guy? This Nordstrom shoe sales guy comes in. I've been here for a year, and he's like triple, quadruple the volume. What is wrong with me? Like, I'm sitting there like, thank God I didn't like, make it, oh, maybe I should quit because, maybe I don't have a chance. We all are on our own path, but I think if we're on a path and the path is towards improvement, right? Because why wouldn't you want to improve? Even when as a speaker, every time I speak, I want to improve. I watch videos of my presentations, of my trainings. How did I perform? How was I moving on the stage? What point did I make? Oh, gee, that point worked out really well. What point did I make that worked? Oh, that worked really good. Look at the audience receptivity to that. Oh, I said this, that one didn't work as well, maybe. And I even talk about when I teach success is repeating the things that work and deleting the things that don't work. Repeat what works, delete what doesn't, right?
Repeat what works, delete what doesn't. Oh,
yeah.
That is so good.
And it's just simple. It's true. It's like, I did that, and that did not work out very well for me. Maybe I should not do that again. So, and then we do things and we're like, oh my gosh, what did I say to that person? And they said, yes, holy smokes, I better remember what I said to that person, right?
Oh, that is amazing. So as much as I want a secret answer, it's really just action and not quitting, like it sounds like, and like, I often think like, what would I do if I was a little bit more bolder? And so like a lot of times I feel like that's what holds me back, and so when I really resonate to your fearless networking, so here's another question, I guess, as you created something that I guess is a next level affiliate type of deal, you have successfully got your products inside other people's products.
Mm-hmm.
How did that happen? Like that is like now every single time somebody's introduced into one of these network marketing hubs, they're introduced into you, Todd. And they're now served in this fearless networking. Like that's how I got introduced to you, was through your book. I love that thing.
Yeah, this is in every distributor kit in the company I'm referring to. So how did that happen, right? Well, I'll tell you how it happened. It happened by years of service, by years of not screwing people over, by years and years of real relationship building, by under promising and over delivering, by never taking, giving somebody the short end of the stick. I have a business philosophy, like a core philosophy of how I operate. Like I can't screw anybody over. My ideal is to bring value out in the marketplace and everything that I do, to be an upstanding, honest citizen that makes the right decisions, that, doesn't, me and screw them, let that person get the shorter end of the stick. Or if I can forward myself and step on this person, which, I don't think is necessary in the network marketing profession. I think sometimes in corporate America, for sure, because there's limited positions and we all have the same position here. We're just reaching for the top. So it got in there from long-term service to others and adding value. And then putting out good quality content. I mean, this book, even though it's skinny, it's 109 pages, is pure content from page 1 to the end. I mean, the very first paragraph all the way to the last paragraph, it's applicable how-to information under the subject matter with the book, which the book is written. So, in fact, I've got it going out right now to another company as well, where it's going to be, there's multiple companies that'll end up having this book. And it's just, that particular book is a nice little size for a new distributor. I'm in the process of literally, like, when I get done with you, I'm going right back into content on this next book, which is on a completely different subject matter that is missing in the network marketing space. And out of all the trainers, speakers, whatever out there, I don't even see a book by any authority figure who's got the kind of pull that I do in the network marketing space that even has any content that's covering those specific issues. So I'm working on that. Wow.
Man, like I have what's called the Hemp Marketing University student recruiters. I would love for them to get that book.
Yeah, I mean, it's if they're in any kind of selling, I mean, it's all about creating better connections, inviting people to take a look at what you do, your presentation, addressing follow-up, dealing with objections, and, how do you close them? How do you get them enrolled into whatever it is that you're doing?
That is so good. Okay, that is so good. All right, so now let me ask you this: like, what what are you working on currently? And then what are your next goals to like next 2 years?
That's an interesting question. Well, I am working on this whole other side of the equation that's missing, and I can't really go into specific detail on that. I'm working on that. There's something that I've identified in teachings and trainings period that are significantly missing in trainings. Like if we're educating somebody for, like I said at the beginning, for retention, like what's the if I tell you something and you're like, what did you say? What did he say? Or what was it that I read? Wait, I can't remember. What did he say to do?
Yeah.
If you can't remember it, what the hell? It's like serves no purpose. So I'm going to start doing some other live training events. I haven't done any of my own. Like I do small group retreats. Like I've got a recruiting business building retreat I'm doing here in Sun River, Oregon in like 4 weeks from now, which is like a live-in business building retreat. People fly in. I put them up in the house. We live together. And I help you build whatever your network marketing business. I mean, it's like I'm your business partner for 3 days. So,
That's so cool.
I'm recruiting with you. I'm helping you put people into your business, getting your skills quickly kind of in order because I'm right there next to you. I've been doing those. Like I do a couple of those a year. I only do a couple of those a year. This is the last one for 2019. And then because I'm so booked up to speak at all these like keynote here, keynote that one, this one, that one. By the time we even get into planning of like a big event of our own, it's like, well, when are we going to do it? My calendar is full. So let's just keep, and honestly, I'd be straight with you. Like I was doing this thing called the Network Marketing Mastery event for a number of years. And then we stopped doing it because I got so busy and it's a lot easier to come in and speak for you for 2 or 3 hours or 4 or 5 hours to a pre-existing audience that's there, that's your team or whatever, or your company's corporate event, than me putting the hotel and this and selling the whole thing out. Not that I don't want to do it, but it's just been a combination of, but the reason I'm going back into, and we're going to start running this event, is because nobody's doing it. It's like, dude, you guys are all missing the boat on making sure that people remember this stuff.
Wow, that is
so beautiful. Yeah.
Now here's a cool question. I see your whole room and there's all tie-dye decked out, lava lamps, guitar, how do you feel about legalization in the cannabis as it's spreading in CBD? How do you feel about that right now?
I think it's a beautiful thing. I mean,
yeah.
I've been and it's kind of interesting because like I don't publicly run around and, get on my Facebook page and say I smoke weed. That's nobody's business really but my own. And it's kind of funny because I know guys in the business, it's like, it's not like I need to be, sitting on my camera all day in front of you and every deal like smoking out or something. But I mean, I smoked herb the first time when I was in 8th grade or 7th grade. Actually, no, that's a lie. 6th grade sixth grade at recess with Greg Olson, smoking Colombian Gold, and it didn't do anything for me. And then I met this guy in 7th grade in choir, Keith, and he's like, "Hey, you want to get fried?" And I was like, "What fried? What's that?" He's this big burly football dude. He said, "Come to the crash with me." And I was like, "What the hell's a crash?" Right? I went to the crash, and that's the first time I remember smoking weed and getting high.
Yeah.
And then I've just enjoyed the plant for really my whole life. I think actually at one point in college, I remember it's like okay, so I guess we're getting super straight and personal on this. So I hope this content does not get forwarded out to the ether of the whole wide world. But I remember, and it's like I don't really care. It's like
I did inhale.
No, I inhaled every single time. But I remember because I would come home from like parking cars and I could always take like the biggest, hugest bong hit, man. I would like just blow it all out, just try to take the biggest Bogart bong hit I could, and just choking, and I did that one time. I remember I was in I think it was 21 or something. And I went to my friend's house and I had like the worst anxiety attack. My heart was pounding. I was freaking out, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, I had to like and it happened to me a couple times. Like which is not actually unusual for cannabis smokers, right? It's, I'm sure we've all had the experience. You ate too big of a cookie or something. And so I kind of pulled back for a while, but I love the smell, the flavor, the taste, so I eased my way back in. And even when I puff today, it's like, I take a little, small little, and I prefer to smoke flower, and I'll smoke a little bit. Like, I don't sit here in fact, it's funny, and I don't judge anybody for how they puff, but I was with my buddy, who's like a former high level banking guy. And like, he's like, I was at his house, and he's kind of like in a lost state in his life, and was drinking, but he's not drinking. And he's like, smoke, like we're smoking a joint. I take like 2 hits off the joint. I'm in a perfect state. He smokes the whole rest of the joint, and then like literally 2 minutes later, he's lighting up another one. I'm like, dude, how high can you get, man? Like, do you really need to smoke all day long, like every single like hour of the day? I mean, is that like, I'm like, I'm good for like 4 or 5 hours. Maybe there's just a THC saturation from, so I'm a lightweight, I guess. I don't know, but I know I'm answering your question kind of indirectly, but I guess
no, this is amazing. I love it.
But no, I mean, I think it's honestly, and if you going into the CBD and the THC side, I live in Oregon, so I live in a fully legal state. I grew up in Washington, which is fully legal. I was living in California, which is fully legal. So I pretty much lived in mostly fully legal states, except for Arizona, which I moved out of a couple years ago. But I mean, to see the plant finally unleashed, and it's been so vilified. On the THC side, it's just so ridiculous. Like, people don't, beat their spouses. They don't, they don't do crazy stuff. Like, and not to say that you, like, I mean, the reality is, if you smoke herb, I mean, it alters your mind, which is true. None of us can say that it doesn't. And so it has an effect. So I don't think that, getting super stoned and driving your car is probably a really smart thing. I think, the reality is you can get popped for a DUI. In fact, I know people who have in legal states and not legal states. So I'm a big fan of seeing it legalized, and the tax dollars that we're seeing in the different states, I think, and I'm no tax expert, but I think it's obviously a good tax base and helping out in some of these states. And then CBD, which is funny, like, I knew about CBD years ago. Nobody even cared what CBD was, honestly, 10 years ago. Even the people that are here, don't even tell me you were like, CBD bullshit. Like, you didn't even know what it was. Like, hardly anybody knew like what CBD was. And now I'm sure there's just going to be some comments like, dude, I've been studying CBD for blah, blah, blah. And if that's you, that's awesome. But the masses had no freaking clue what it was. Yeah. And so, seeing that there's this other component, this amazing component that's in the plant, and discovering that there are benefits behind it. And then finally with like, the pilot farm bill of 2014, and then this last one, and then seeing it being legalized, obviously. And it's interesting because I know people in the cannabis space in all different areas, THC, CBD, growing, cultivating, processing, dispensaries and so on. And like a former person that former person I worked with was growing medicinally for the state of Washington. And, and then it was interesting because I saw the paperwork, the Washington State Marijuana and Liquor Board or whatever it was. I'm like, official document. How cool is that? Like, wow, that's official, like Washington State. That's pretty awesome. And he got his like a category 2 to 10,000 square feet of canopy grow permit. And then, and he's very talented at growing. I can't even keep any plant alive, so I don't think I'll ever grow anything. But I was going to invest in that. But then obviously with the legalization, what we saw is like this massive supply, and then prices on cannabis being driven down to like, I remember actually I was talking to a dispensary owner at a meeting with him here a couple months ago. And I think the price got down to like a trimmed out pound to like as low as like $500, like, which is, and now we're seeing prices begin to creep back up on that side. But then, now more and more people are like, oh, like, look at the demand for this thing that is actually now, and I want to watch my words, like I guess I'll say federally legal. If it's CBD or hemp-derived CBD. We're seeing the popularity rise. You can't miss it on mainstream TV or anywhere. It's like in the news all the time, which is a very exciting time for cannabis businesses. You know, as well as I do. Like I do a lot of business with one company that you mentioned already. That I'll probably see you in 2 weeks at that event, I would guess.
Yeah, I hope so. I might be in San Diego, but maybe.
Okay. So, but it's cool. I mean, people like my 75-year-old mother-in-law is using CBD tinctures, and she's gotten off of her arthritis medication that she was taking, or she's chosen to get off of it. And she comes back, she's like, "Can I get another bottle of that stuff?" I'm like, "Why? What's up?" She's like, "No, I'm like, I need it. It's like my hands are starting to hurt again." I'm like, "Wow." And then like my wife's father is like 85-year-old, retired Air Force colonel, Church of Christ, Oklahoman, old school. Like he's using it to, help him sleep better. So when you're seeing like I'm like, "Hey, Joe, you're doing pot." Yeah. It's like, "What? I'm not doing pot. I'm doing CBD." I'm like, "I know, I'm just teasing." I like to mess with him because he's never like one time in his life ever even considered even smoking marijuana. So
yeah,
my feelings are positive about the whole subject matter. It's an interesting time though, man. It's an interesting time on both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, I see opportunity in network marketing, and it's kind of crazy because network marketing was introduced to me at the same time that I was like, I moved from Phoenix. I lived in Phoenix, Arizona. I used to be with an ammunition company out there. And I ended up, because they didn't legalize cannabis, I moved back to Vegas. I was like, I'm done. Like I was already doing things on the internet. I was already selling ammo. I was already selling things that you're not allowed to sell, so I was already experiencing that like restricted market, and so just coming over to cannabis was like, all right, cool. This is another challenge that I know there's a lot of people just like network marketing that they're like skeptical and scared. And so I was like, these are going to be the guys that are just going to stand there and watch me do it.
Yeah.
Just like network marketing, so it's kind of the same. For me, it's the same thing. It's like you're going against two cultural norms, and now they introduced it into one. And it's like, dude, like you get to tell who doesn't buy weed from their friends? And now you introduce the fact you get paid from that. Like, that's so cool.
I mean, I got people asking me all the time. My sister-in-law is like, "Hey, can I get some CBD from you?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" She's like, "I'm just they're moving." And she's like, "I got high anxiety right now." I'm like, "Yeah, no worries. I'll get you covered." Yeah.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Yeah, that is so amazing. Yeah. Okay. Now, so let me ask you this. When you were like boots deep into network marketing, what was your affiliate recruiting strategy? What was it like? How did you actually go after people that you were like going to get results, right? Like, ultimately, like we want to like our friends and family, sometimes maybe they're not who we expect are going to get results, and yes, they're going to buy from us. However, how do we intentionally go after the people that matter the most is really the question, especially in the cannabis industry. Like, this is a new space. So how do we pick the people that are willing to like put their face out there in something that people think is taboo most of the time?
I honestly think we're past the taboo spot especially with smart business people. I know that there are people that still have their opinions, whatever, and there always will be, that just don't understand it or don't even care to understand it, or they have and it sucks because it's like people, there's a phrase, I don't know, I didn't coin it, but people are down on the things that they're not up on, right? So they'll poo-poo something, but they don't even know anything about it, right? They know zero about whatever that thing is that we're talking about. So, and then I'm having a cannabis moment now because I'm forgetting the main question that you asked me. I was making my point, and I literally, how do you like that? You can brain fart on live Facebook, and it's totally acceptable, and that's a beautiful thing. So repeat the question again, because I know it's an important one.
Like, how do we actually target affiliates?
Oh, yeah, gotcha. All right. So like, here's the thing: you have to be on purpose. You're like, okay, I got to build this business. Here's the way you got to look at it. Let's talk specifically about building a network marketing business. Like, okay, I'm going to build this network marketing business. I need to build it. I can't sit around and waiting for somebody else to build it for me. I have to go build it. Well, the low-hanging fruit typically, and it's always been this way, probably always will be this way, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Marketers are smart. They feast on people's fears. So they'll say things like, "Oh, don't bug your friends and family. Don't beg your friends and family. Use our system," right? And I get it because I'm a marketer. what you feast on people's pains and fears. That's what people do. I still think, like, if you started a business and you're super excited about it, starting with your warm market's a perfect place to start. You have relationships with them. I did that, but my warm market was a bunch of broke dudes that had no motivation. So I sponsored my one friend, Tom, and that was like literally the only warm market guy that I sponsored. So I had to go get into cold market prospecting. So I got into cold market stuff super early. Like in 1990, I was running ads in Orange County Register and LA Times and driving people to a live briefing presentation. It was almost like we were kind of running like really, it was almost like interviews. These people thought many times that they were coming to a job interview because it was a want ad. And then they would come into a business briefing. And I did that for a couple of years. And then December of 1995, I started, because I'd essentially run out of warm market, but we're always recreating and meeting new people, that I had to get into leads. So in 1995, I joined a company called ProStep, which is actually, I was in another one before that called Co-op Lead Network, which didn't last. But I joined this company called ProStep in December of 1995. It's so funny. Nobody ever gets the depth of the story, bro. Like nobody ever, like the shit we're talking about, nobody ever gets it. So I joined this company December of 1995. It was a network marketing lead company. So their product was leads, support and training, which included back then like voice on demand, fax on demand, which was a hot technology back then. We had one of the very first ever autoresponders, like when we were getting leads when we first started, I get names and phone numbers, and addresses. So I would have to pick up the phone. I would have to call people, and I would send postcards. So I was like, and I thought, man, working leads, all these people that request information about making money from home, I'm going to sign up all these people. And then I find out when I'm picking up the phone, I'm like, oh my God, who am I dealing with here? Like, who is this person? We can't even talk. I'm like calling Bob. Hi, is Bob in? Yeah, this is Bob. I'm like, hey, Bob, Todd Falcone here. I'm getting back to you. Requested some information about making money in a home-based business. Is that true? Is that correct? Well, I don't know. What do you got? I'm like, are you kidding me? Because at that point in time, hang on, I take a sip. At that point in time, I had, I want you guys that are watching to think, okay, how many, how do you feel like when you get on the phone with a really amazing prospect, like somebody who sounds good, they're outgoing, they're positive, they're interested, they're open, they're all of these different things. I'm thinking you're probably going, yeah, that's a great conversation. I like it. And then you get on the phone with some turd or some person that just doesn't sound very good. Somebody that's just, can't even carry on a conversation, super skeptical, negative, whatever they are. And you're like, that, I don't want to do that. So what ended up happening is, I'm building all the, working all these leads and recruiting a ton of people, by the way. I recruited, I didn't calculate. But I can tell you, over 10 years, I probably recruited over 1,000 people with purchase leads. Okay? It's a big sorting game, but in the middle of that sorting game, I ended up, I was like sitting there one day, I was living in Monterey, California, and I was doing really well. I was making a lot of money in my business. And I was already at this point, I'm so impatient, like dealing with the Bobs. And if your name's Bob and you're watching this, it's just a name, right? B-O-B, same way for forwards, backwards, whatever. But like, I had this day and I was at the end of the day, I'm sitting at my desk and I'm like, there's gotta be a better way, man. Like all these people I'm dealing with, I don't want to deal with any of these people, but where's all the good people at? And I remember I was sitting and I'm not going to move my computer around, but I always have had, since the beginning of time in my business, an L-shaped desk. So the L goes this direction. And I feel like I need my space, right? I have to have a big working space. Right now it's just full of stuff, but I know where everything is. So don't worry about it. And there was a magazine. It was a Homes and Land magazine that was on my desk. And I looked at it. I was like, God, every realtor that I know is pretty outgoing, and they make money on commissions. They hustle, they prospect, they're salespeople. I'm going to call these people and see what happens. Like, at least I want to talk. At least I want to talk to somebody that can talk. Right? So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going through it, and I'm like, all right. I pick up the phone. I call this lady. I don't remember what I said, but she basically hung up on me. I'm like, that script didn't work very good. Let me try to say something different. Then I call this other one. I'm like, I'm nervous. Like, this is new. Call this other lady. I said something, and she goes, yeah, I'm open to taking a look at something. I'm like, oh, cool. And then I called another guy that night. It was and he said, yeah. So here I don't even know what I'm doing. I had 2 out of the 3 people I called. They all sounded good. Said yes. So I got up the next morning, started digging through that magazine, trying to come up with a script, trying to come up with a question. And I started to recruit a bunch of realtors, which led to a bunch of mortgage people, which led to other categories. And then I had people asking me, where are you getting these people? How you doing it? I had upline asking me, sideline. I had downline. My friend Anthony's like, dude, you need to teach this to me. I'm like, I ain't telling you what I'm doing. Because I was like, I had done ad co-ops in the past, and I didn't want to, like, if any of you guys have ever run an advertising co-op where you get a bunch of people's money into one pile of money, which gives you the image of largeness or the ability to have image of largeness in the marketplace, you run the ad and then you split all the leads. Well, I had imploded multiple ad co-ops because ad co-op has a finite, because you're advertising in a particular publication, like let's say USA Today, at some point we're going to have a point of diminishing returns and the quality is going to dissipate. So I was like, I am not going to tell anybody about this because I don't want to outfish the pond. And I'm going to do something here because I can tell. Hang on a second. Let me just do this because I see I'm blurry on the other one. We can't have that. That would be awful. Hang on. You're going to be looking at me blurry. Hold on. Am I blurry? Hang on. What's up? If you actually saw, oh, you know what I've got? Hang on. So while I'm unblurring my screen, this is funny. This is actually a tissue for your forehead, just in case you're, getting on camera to get the oils off of your face. So I can probably use it there too.
Oh, there you go. It's clearing up.
Look at that. Let's see. I'll see if it catches up on the video because there's a little delay. So I started recruiting professional people and it started working, which actually I ultimately, when I started speaking in 2005 or 6, I produced the course Insider Secrets of Recruiting Professionals, which is crazy. Even to this day, like I was looking at transactions, I'm like, we sell more of that product than like anything else. Like, I sell a ton of books because it's, free and they only pay shipping for it, which is easy. And that course sells for off of my webinar. If they buy off my site, it's more, but off my webinar, it's like $297. So they actually get a discount on it. But I just started here's the deal. Every single day, and I think if you're involved in network marketing, no day should ever pass without you doing some type of personal business building activity to drum up new business, to go out and get it. Not like sitting around and waiting on Facebook and entertaining people on Facebook. Not that you can't get results with it, but it's kind of like, hurry up and wait. Let me post the information. Let me see if I can do curiosity. That's more the marketing side. And we need to do a lot of the marketing stuff, but also, prospecting. Prospecting is I'm picking up the phone or I'm sending you a text message. I'm engaging you in conversation saying, look, I got something I'm excited about. I want to show you what I'm up to. Or I meet a realtor. I'm like, oh, I'm going to give her a call. Look, we met at a mixer last week. I wanted to give you a buzz. I was, enjoyed our chat. Listen, I'm calling you. I got a very simple, straight up question. Do you at all keep your options open in terms of making any money outside of what you're currently doing as a real estate professional? And that ultimately is the peak interest question that I still teach today, that I've been teaching for 10 years. That still is highly effective. I know for a fact it is because I got tons of people doing it and they give me feedback on it. And so in terms of I went from working leads, knowing even as somebody that's working leads, to know that I wanted to be a talent scout, right? I wanted to be somebody that would, what are you trying to do? You're trying to put together a winning football team. You're trying to put together a team of people that are doers, producers, can do, make it happen people.
Yeah.
Not like a bunch of lazy bums to sit around and do anything. And I'm like, okay, well, those people already have good jobs. They're already in money-making occupations. They're in positions where they get paid on their production. They're in positions that require them to call on people, to prospect, to drum up business, to, do all these things. So that whole art of recruiting professionals thing has absolutely kicked ass over the last, for me, in the last 20 years. But even like teaching it now for the last, at least 10 years in network marketing. I have a guy that last week he sent me a message, Jim Tanner just crossed his 7 figures in earnings mark in his company. Wow. And he's done it. And he said it publicly to me. I've got multiple videos from him. He's like, dude, I built my entire business doing what you teach in your recruiting professionals course. Wow. I built my entire business recruiting up. Because if you think about it, again, okay, let me take it out of network marketing, because I'm sure there's some people that may not necessarily be in network marketing, but be in a CBD business, for example. Yeah. So you're trying to hire an employee, you put out a job request. People come in, they have with their applications and their resumes or whatever, and you're going through them. Do you just hire the first person? Or you're like, no, this guy is the best person for the job. We've interviewed him. Look at the experience. Look at the results from the experience. He's the one that we're going to get the job. So give the job to. So, we get to pick and choose who we put into our business. So and I know long answer, but there's anytime when somebody asks me a question, there's always like multiple miniature answers inside of the question. And that's just the way my brain works. Like, I'm like, okay, I know this is going to come up, so let me answer that before it gets asked. Proactive recruiting every single day. Like on every stage that I speak on, and I'll probably do it even in Vegas, even though I've done it at the 2 previous events that I've spoken there, is you need to track your numbers. Like, most people don't track their revenue producing activities. They're not holding themselves accountable to the revenue producing activities. Like, for example, let me show you something. So I literally log every single bit of business building activity in this. Like, and I've done this for years. This is actually a network marketing specific one that we just made. It's called the Fearless Networker Prospecting Partner. But if you said to me, if you were my sponsor and you're like, dude, so what'd you do today? I can go, well, I did 25, 50, I did 56 reach outs today for my business. Not, oh, I don't know, I can't remember, I did a couple. And so I think it's important for people to, a lot of people come in this business and they're not held, they come from an employee mentality. So learning to be self-employed is a very different experience for them, and understanding how to hold themselves accountable. So I've been running accountability programs since 2008 with the whole purpose of helping people to begin to get into the understanding of what's required for them to stay accountable. Because this is the deal. You're in, oh, I'm home. Oh, laundry. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, let me dust my desk. Oh, wait, oh, I gotta go watch, hang on a second. I gotta go watch reruns of Oprah. Let me go watch reruns of Oprah. Let me go do whatever they're going to go do. And you can't be successful without having a high degree of personal accountability. And so that's a missing ingredient. But I also think, the other thing you asked, and for all you CBD network marketing people, I wouldn't worry about like what these higher level people, they might, what if they, I'm telling you right now, I got guys coming to me going, how the hell do I get into a CBD business? Yeah. Like high level people wondering how to get into a CBD business because they don't know how to get into it. And the cool thing, like, and for the, like, let me real quick, what is your audience like? Is the audience like mostly like network marketing CBD people or just CBD business people? Like, what's the percentage of the audience in here? I'm curious.
It's literally like we have about 55% network marketers, CBD business owners. And then about 24% business owners CBD, and then everybody else is supporting the industry, inside this group, so about 55% of this group is network marketers. But yeah, everyone that's watching, what do you guys, if you guys are watching this live, what are you, what's your business? You in an MLM, network marketing business, affiliate, what?
Yeah, I'm curious to know what the comments are because, for either way, as the comments are coming in, because I can see, I'm not seeing the live comments for some reason on my computer, but like the built-in, like with a network marketing CBD business, and I know this is fact. This is not BS. This is absolute fact. You have a built-in ability to market at a very high level, right? Because you're not dependent upon advertising. The biggest issues in the CBD space right now, domestically, let's just talk about the U.S. for the most part, are banking, right? The ability to have merchant processing, legitimate real merchant processing that's easy rather than these apps that people have to download to buy their stuff, or, Green Box or this or that or the other. I mean, all these different, things. And then if you're a marketer and you're smart about marketing, and you and I even kind of talked about this through private messenger a little bit, how am I going to sell this stuff? Well, I can't advertise it on Facebook. I can't put it on Amazon. I have to change the label to hemp, and I don't even know if I'll even get away with it for very long because you're lying anyhow and you'll get caught. And you can't advertise on Google, at least at this point. So there's huge restrictions to how you can market it. So the beautiful thing, like, because I got high level business people that are like, dude, how do I get into the CBD business without just being an investor? I'm like, well, yeah, you can go invest in this, and this, and some of these like cannabis stocks or whatever. But if you really wanted to be in a business, I mean, the path of least resistance is with a company that has network marketing as their distribution model, because it's people telling people, and there's no restrictions on that. I'm not saying that, like, because I actually I was down in Mexico 2 weeks ago, and I bumped into the co-founder of Medterra randomly, like at the airport, having a shot of tequila, drinking a beer. And I bumped into this. He was wearing a Medterra hat, and I was like, "Oh, Medterra." And I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And we started chatting. He's like, "You know us?" I'm like, "Yeah, oh yeah, no, I definitely know you." I'm like, "So, are you work for the company?" He goes, "No, I own it." I'm like, "What?" And it was the co-founder of the company. So we had like nice little 15, 20-minute chat. And we talked a little bit about kind of the challenges. So it's a really interesting space for, you got to be really, really creative if you don't have like an affiliate arm, if you will, right? Yeah. The affiliates are like what I've seen. Wow, I pay you on performance. The only time I pay you is when you move stuff, rather than, oh, I have to go run some, contextual ad here, or do some kind of spam-based email to try to get people. I mean, the marketing methods, unfortunately, that are available to CBD marketers thus far there are not a lot of good options. And then you have the SEO, which is like super long tail strategy. And not that that's not that's a good strategy, but that's not immediate revenue, especially for a CBD startup trying to start today. And then how do you start? How can I even start if I can't even start? How do I start the deal? I can't even start it because you got to make a sale.
Yeah.
And you don't have the ability to do it. We could go in so many different directions in this conversation for sure.
Yeah. Wow. So now if someone was outside of the industry and watching this right now, what would you tell them, right? Like, what would you tell them?
If they're outside of what? The cannabis space, or
the cannabis space and the MLM space, like either one, what would you tell them right now in this day and age?
I don't know. I would guess it would be dependent on the person. If the person, there's a lot of people that got into cannabis because of the money in cannabis, pure and simple. Then there's people that really truly love the plant and they're in it because it's been part of their life, and to be in a profession that's, been a part of your life, you legitimately have a real interest in, I think is pretty cool. I think, it's still very, very early. If somebody says, "Hey, should I get into the cannabis business?" I'm like, I don't know. Do you want to be in the cannabis business? What do you want to do? Well, do you want to be on the CBD side or the THC side? Well, I don't know. I think I want to be on the CBD side. Well, have you, there's a lot of different options there. Then you got to think about, like, if straight up, if I was talking to somebody, I'm like, if you want the path of least resistance, I would say, I would do it through a network marketing company, become a distributor, and go crush it. Because then you don't have to deal with all the other stuff that's associated with it.
Yeah. Okay. Now here's a question. Now, if you had to start completely 100% over in right where you just gave that advice to that person that's in the cannabis space that is needing to basically sell product, but also trying to recruit affiliates. Like, if you had to start all over, what would you do right now, next 90 days?
You mean if I joined like a CBD network marketing company?
Yeah, literally. What would you do? And what would you do right now, next 90 days?
I would cancel all of my appointments, all of my other stuff, the golf, the this, the that. I would create a wide opening in my schedule, and I would get up and do yoga first thing in the morning, which is what I do because it gets me up and kind of levels me out and gets me in a nice, peaceful, calm, worked out state. I'd come home, I'd shower, and I'd be sitting right here from 7:30 in the morning until I couldn't do it any longer, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. And I would be on the phone to everybody and anybody I could, tell them, look, I just launched into a new business in CBD. Do you know anything about CBD? If you do, cool, let's talk about it. If you don't, let's talk about what it is. Are you open to taking a look at an amazing opportunity in a very, very giant growing new section that we're early in on? And if you are, I want to talk to you right now. Let's have that discussion. And I would spend all of my time literally building a business, actively going out and putting affiliates in. I would use, of course, like I would do stuff on social, if you will, as part of my overall strategy, but that's more passive in nature. Not that you couldn't do a direct call to action on social media, but I would be spending a lot of time just, connecting with as much talent as I possibly could.
Wow. So you're literally outreaching, and I like the strategy of the idea of like intentionally going after realtors, like thinking about like going after people that are in the sales industry is really like, it's very, very intentionally smart, like, cause sometimes I just stick in like the little internet marketing space, you know what I mean? And so I only look at what other internet marketers are out there. And I forget that there's a ton of other sales jobs that would just be absolutely fantastic with a better product, you know, like, oh, here, look, sell this. Like everybody really wants this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got, when you have, I think that's what you got to have is a need in the marketplace. I mean, it's just basic economics, supply and demand, and being in a high demand sector, and being with a company that's going to serve that sector and relieve the pain, or provide value to those, because it's all about value, right? Anything, doesn't matter what we're selling. It's like, it's an exchange of value. Okay, well, I have a pain, and you have a product that's going to make that pain go away. Like, okay, I'm thirsty, sell me a bottle of water. Okay, that made my pain go away, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
All
right, very cool.
Man.
Very cool. All right, so I know that kind of earlier I saw on your Facebook Live, you talked about you were starting up the A team again, right? So if there's anybody that's watching this, I'm going to be taking this video and adding it into Hemp Marketing University afterwards. Do I have your permission for any of the students that are watching this to reach out to you for any questions they have?
Yeah, I'm not hard to find, bro.
Cool.
It's pretty easy to find me. I'm on Facebook, and you can reach out to me through my site. And toddfalcone.com is probably the best place to get plugged into me. Like if you go to toddfalcone.com, at the top of the page it says new to Todd ? And you click on that button, you'll be subscribed to my newsletter that I pump out about once a week. And if I've got a new piece of subject matter, like we put out day before yesterday on how to be a better closer, you'll get that stuff. If I'm doing an event, you'll have that. But the A team, the thing that that I was talking about on that live this morning, if you're involved in a network market, I'm going to do a shameless pitch for a second, because if you're in a business and you are, you're not doing it at the level that you could be, or you'd like to be, or you should be, and you're kind of stuck in this spinning circle. I call it the spinning circle of doom. It's like, I know I could be doing more, but I'm repeating. It's like you're doing the same thing over and over, which is not enough. And you need some help. Obviously, you need some help, because you're not going to change it unless you do something in your life that's going to change it, which is why I designed A Team years and years ago. The analogy that I use, and it's on the video on the site that I'll give out in a second, is like, it's like hiring a personal fitness trainer, but for your business. Yeah. So it's a 90-day, 12-week accountability and training and coaching program with me. It's not one of my coaches. It's me running it. We have weekly Zooms for 12 weeks. I teach you how to track and what types of activity to track in your business, so you can kind of get a grip on where there might be leaks in your boat, if you will, and give you a heightened level of awareness on things that you need to change. You can't change anything until you're aware that it needs to be changed. It's really important. And the people that do A Team and that they go through the 90 days, and if they actually do it, you can't do less. There's no way you can do my 90-day deal and get to the end of it and go, I did less. I did less than I did. I mean, if you do it, you do more. You'll produce more. You'll learn more. You'll feel more confident about your skills. I run one once a quarter. Next one starts October 1st. And we've met, let me tell you about our pricing strategy. So yeah, there is an investment to do it. I'm not going to coach you for free. Sorry. That's not how it works. Yeah. There's a fee for working with me if you want to. It's just, you go to the restaurant, can I have a free meal? No, you got to pay for it. So when we started it, I ran the first one, June of 2008, $4.99, $500. I've kept that pricing the entire time. So we've never had a price increase. I've messed around with 2 payment options. We actually just added a 3 payment option, which is the first time we've ever done that, because I don't want to exclude people that really want to, but they just can't figure out a way to do it. So the next one starts October 1st. We're doing scaled pricing. So right now, while we're doing this live, as of whatever the date is, today the 17th, it's $299. So if they get in, it's $299. It's always been, it is $500. On the 19th, I believe, Thursday, the price goes from $299 to $399. And then I don't know what the other date is, but then it'll eventually go up to $499 right before we start it. So right now, if you want to save some money and get in, I only take 100 people anyhow. So right now it's $299. My suggestion, if you're a network marketer, would be this. Don't come in and do it by yourself. If you don't have a team, then come in and do it by yourself. But if you got team members, you should bring some team members. I just got back from an event, and there's probably 20 people from that one company, that one distributor group, that are going to be in this one that starts on the 1st. what if you had 10 people, 20 people, 50 people on your team doing a 12-week, 90-day accountability blitz with me for 90 days? Where are they going to be? Like, if you did it, yeah, you'll do more. But what if you had 5 people, 10 people, 20 people? I had one that I just did for a European group, and I've never done this one this big, but we had 400 people in it.
Wow.
400 people. They all paid $500 for that. Actually, no, they paid 500 euros to do it when they did it. Yeah. Which is more than $500 actually. But so you can get in now. It's $2.99. The details, I'll give you the page real quick. It's toddfalcone.com/team, TEAM. So it's TODDFALCONE.com/team. It's pretty self-explanatory on the page. When you click on the shopping cart, you'll see that, it says $2.99. Oh, 2 payment option, cool. And then if you need to do 3 payments to whatever, we just added that. That's the first time in 11 years of doing it that we've ever had even a 3-pay option. So we just added that. So we start October 1st, and I'll get you moving. I guarantee that for sure.
Yeah, that is huge.
Yeah,
that is huge, especially with a team like that. Like having a whole entire team, all learning from you and like just going hard. Like that's so amazing. Heck yeah.
Yeah, it's fun, man. You'll do more. You'll definitely step up to your A game for sure.
Yeah, man. Todd, well, thank you so much for being on here. I appreciate you every second that you've been on here with us. And so, man, any last words before we let you go?
Dude, just keep laughing, man. I love your attitude. I love your level of happiness. You have this joyful awesomeness about you. Don't change that, man. I mean, it's just it's like every time I hear you, make me smile. So keep that up. Making people smile is a good thing, and I appreciate it. Hopefully people got value out of the time we've hung out today, and I'll hopefully see you soon, man.
Cool. Thank you, man. Thank you, Todd. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. We'll see you. Thanks, guys.